Hey everybody, Shoebox Legends here. Thanks for joining me for an episode where we're going to rip some junk wax today. So quick backstory here. I'm working on a priority flat rate box of hockey cards to send off to my buddy Brian over at Walk and Balk here on YouTube. He's a good friend of mine and recently got into collecting hockey cards like in the last year or two. Already building a very impressive collection. He's got the Gretzky rookie, and some other really huge cards, but he's looking for kind of some starter lots or, just high numbers of common or, easier to acquire cards to kind of jumpstart his collection and maybe some set pursuits and TTM fuel, stuff like that. So I've been batching up kind of some hockey cards that I'm looking to get rid of and purge and make some space around here. So like here's an example. Basically just take like a team set bag or a graded slab bag and just fill it with 30 or 40 cards. In this case, it's 90 O-Pee-Chee. It came out of a vending box I picked through. And then, these get stacked up in the priority box for Brian. Well, I'm about 3/4 of the way full on the priority box, and I need some more cards to kind of just put it over the top and get it out the door here. And that's where 1990-91 Pro Set comes in. So this was the first hockey release by Pro Set. They didn't last very long. They were out of the hockey game just, maybe 3 years later. But this, this is considered like the height of junk wax, right? It came out in 1990 when the hockey card scene was exploding. Pro Set, printed about 1 trillion cases of this, as far as I can tell. They don't really have a lot of monetary value to this day, with a few exceptions that we'll get into. But I inherited like a case of Pro Set hockey from my dad that he had bought when we were kids. So this was 1990. So back then, if you were buying a case of cards, that was an investment. So yeah, beware everybody who's investing in the hobby now. Back in 1990, everybody thought these were great investments. You bought your case of Pro Set, you stuck it away in the basement, and then in 15 or 20 years, you paid for your son to go to college and paid his tuition with your Pro Set money. So that didn't really pan out, and nowadays you can find a wax box of this for probably, whatever it costs to ship it to your door. Not a very valuable product, but, as much as I'm bashing it, it's a lot of fun to open. In my mind, the cards are very colorful, just great design, and all the stars of the day obviously are in the set. You have your Mario Lemieux and Wayne Gretzky's, and there's some good rookies. I think Yager, Sergei Fedorov, other Hall of Fame rookies, Alexander McGillney. It's just a fun set. There's trophy cards, team cards, logo cards, all-star cards. In the second series, Pro Set even made referee cards. So yeah, pretty much all of them are not very valuable to this day. But you might pull something fun. Like the cards I have up in the background here. This is Paul Gillis. This is a common. But there is a version of this card where he has a bloody nose. And if you pull one of those, that could be a pretty valuable card, maybe $75, $100. I haven't looked in a while, but pretty valuable. Or maybe you'll just get something fun like this, which I pulled out of another box of this that I opened with my wife one day, just for fun. Not sure what happened there, but obviously very, very badly miscut. And it's cool that you see some of the uncut sheet in the border there. So I kind of held on to that John Druce for this reason. So the production value wasn't great, but I love the design. They have very clear photographs for 1990 and just a fun color-themed border. And the backs are nice too. They feature, a separate second photo, stats, a nice write-up. Famously, there are some errors where the player on the back of the card isn't the correct player. Again, just kind of goes back to the production value. Here's a Minnesota North Stars card when they used to kind of still be a thing. So yeah, fun stuff. I'm just going to rip open a couple packs of these on camera here. The one thing that you would want to chase from this set to this very day, and the reason that I still have these wax boxes and open them every so often, there is a Stanley Cup hologram card that you could pull out of this release. And if you were fortunate enough to get one of those, that is a rare card. I forget how many they printed, maybe 10,000, something like that, but pretty rare by 1990 standards, and especially given how much of this stuff was produced, you have about a 1 in a million chance of actually pulling one of those out of a box. Here's a really cool one, Ron Francis All-Star card for the Hartford Whalers. Have those nice late 80s, early 90s all-star jerseys here, which are pretty cool. That's a winner. Of course, I already have, basically all of these, unless I get a bloody nose, Paul Gillis, or I'm fortunate enough to pull a Stanley Cup hologram. These are all just going to go right off into a baggie and help top off that box that I have going for Brian. So here's another second pack. Not really a ton of star power in that first one outside of Ron Francis. Here's Hall of Famer Dino Ciccarelli with the Washington Capitals. So fun cards, Hartford Whalers, Kevin Dineen, one of the fan favorite players definitely in the history of that franchise. And I think scored the final goal in Hartford Whalers team history, if I'm not mistaken. Very fittingly, here's a Hall of Famer, Joe Nieuwendyk. Shout out to Sean over at Sean Stuff for this Flames card here. This was a huge set. I think it was like, maybe 800 cards that were included in this release in 2 separate series. Here's Brian Leetch, one of the best U.S.-born defensemen of all time. At least I think that was the case. Yep, Corpus Christi, Texas. Cam Neely, perennial 50-goal scorer before he was hurt and fan favorite in Boston. And yeah, you got one of these 10-cent discount cards in every pack, so you could just buy packs one at a time and just continually get 10 cents off your next pack. I probably have, man, I must have opened to date, just as an adult collector, since I got this case from my dad, I've probably opened maybe four or five wax boxes of this stuff. And yeah, nary a Stanley Cup hologram in sight, but maybe someday. Another Whaler there, Randy Cunneyworth. Here's Gretzky's bodyguard. Talked about him in a penalty minutes leaders video that I did a while back. And I always liked the photo on this McSorley because it actually fittingly shows the great one in the background there, number 99. Very recognizable, and of course has the Captain C on the King sweater there, so pretty cool card. Brendan Shanahan, another guy who's enshrined and was involved in an administrative position with the league for at least a few years there after his retirement. Larry Murphy, another Hall of Famer, defenseman. So yeah, just you can see kind of chock full of stars. Here's a Mario Lemieux. Nice shot of him there. You definitely get a lot of star power in this, and they're just very, very colorful, fun cards to open all these years later. I think every decent hockey collection, just because of how produced this set was and how it was really everywhere in 1990, I think every good, well-rounded hockey card collection needs some 1990 Pro set. Sort of like 87 Topps baseball or something along those lines. Got some Quebec Nordique here, Tony Herkek. And they did these trophy cards, which I thought were kind of cool as well. The NHL has some pretty memorable and recognizable hardware that it awards to its players every year. And I thought these were kind of neat. So on the back, you get, a summary of what the trophy is presented for and how long it's been around and, who the last winner was, stuff like that. So these were very educational. When I was opening packs of this with my brothers in, 1990, you didn't have the internet. At least it was really in its early beginnings, and most folks didn't have it at home. There wasn't 24/7 sports coverage like there is today. So really, occasionally you'd get a book. But aside from that, it was the backs of the cards in the early days that really taught my brothers and I about the game of hockey. And I learned so much that I still remember to this day. Here's a nice C.R.E. Curry All-Star, another famous teammate of Gretzky's. And we'll do one more pack here and then call it a day. I think 10 minutes is enough pro set to subject anyone to, but just figured I would shoot some of this and fast track this package to Brian. Here's a nice one, Patrick Waugh, one of the best netminders of all time. And I always love the image on this one. Old enough that he's still got the wooden Louisville stick and the brown padding. So just love that look on goalie cards. Something you don't really see anymore, obviously, in the modern game. It's another trophy card, the Norris Trophy, awarded to the best defender in the league every year. Although recently, past couple decades, it's kind of turned into like the most offensively gifted defender, it seems like, but that's a discussion for another day. Trevor Linden. I'm not sure. This may be a rookie. I feel like his rookie may have come a little bit earlier, but don't quote me on that. So yeah, that's a wrap. Phil Housley, another very, very good defender. And then here's a cool one. So they had, we'll finish off with these strong ending here. We had a number 1 draft picks card of Owen Nolan, who was a pretty big deal in 1990. He had actually a pretty good career, but in 1990, he was a hot name in the hobby that you wanted to get some cardboard of, so pretty cool draft card there. And then the final card, we have Dale Hawerchuk, and I like that, similar to the O-Pee-Chee sets, at the time, they would include these, traded designations on the cards, so we can see here that Hall of Famer Dale made his way to the Sabres on June 6th, 1990. So there you go. That is, I don't know, maybe half a dozen or so packs of the junkiest of junk wax. No Stanley Cup hologram there, no surprise, but I'll keep this box off to the side, and if there's any interest, maybe I'll get into some more packs in a future video. But I appreciate you sticking with me, and I'll certainly be back in the near future with some more sports card content. Until then, take care.